Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
Welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. But for our radio audience tuning in here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all can be with us. Also tuning in to our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. We're glad you all could be with us as well. Well, this month, March 2023, marks 3 years that we've been really impacted by COVID-19 in the United States. And I know it's one of those topics that people have tried to be able to move on from because things have definitely gotten better thanks to vaccines. But it is something that is still impacting the lives of individuals right around us. People are getting sick. I know friends of mine just that contracted COVID last week. And unfortunately, people are still dying every week from COVID as well. This brings up important conversations about what we should be doing as we're now in spring. A lot of us will be getting together with individuals in our family and friends around the country. What should we know about COVID? What should we know about the vaccines? And why is it important to make sure that you're updated? We're excited to welcome back Dr. Otis Gowdy to our broadcast. Dr. Gowdy is joining us from the Internal Medicine Clinic in Meridian, Mississippi. He's going to talk to us not only about the importance of making sure that we have been able to get our vaccine, but also important information about what we need to know about long COVID as well. Dr. Gowdy, glad to have you back on the program with us.
Cyrus, thank you so much for having me.
Well, this is a topic I know our audience is probably already thinking, okay, we're still talking about this. But the truth of the matter is, as you know, Dr. Gowdy, in your work, that COVID is still impacting the lives of individuals around us. So, we talk a lot about vaccinations this time. Of course, especially over the past couple of years, it's been a big thing. People want to know especially what it means to be fully vaccinated. So talk to us about that. In your work, what has it been like for you to be able to share what it actually means to be fully vaccinated against COVID?
Oh, thank you so much for that. People are considered up to date on their COVID vaccines when they've completed the primary vaccine series and an updated vaccine. If you are not up to date, you may be at risk of serious illness from COVID. People who have not had vaccines are much more likely to be hospitalized and die if they get COVID than those who are vaccinated and up to date on their vaccines. Recent studies show that updated vaccines provide additional protection from COVID illness in people who are already vaccinated with or without a booster. But we're seeing that having the vaccine and being boosted actually has continued to have protection and prevents from the worst outcomes from COVID and preventing those long-term effects from COVID, that long-haul COVID symptoms of fatigue. And we've been seeing that even in people who have no health issues, people who are young and healthy who did not get vaccinated, came down with the virus, and are still having fatigue and waning symptoms from the virus. So that's why it's important to get vaccinated and get the booster. We consider having the booster, if you've been vaccinated before September, it is important that you get the booster. Now, the updated boosters show a series of effects that prevent COVID and those serious effects from COVID.
Dr. Gowdy, I'm not a conspiracy theorist myself. I'm someone who definitely believes in the importance of following the science. But we have to be honest and say that there are still people who doubt the vaccines. There's still people who doubt if the vaccines are safe. 3 years later into this pandemic, does that surprise you? Because, of course, in our home state of Mississippi, we see quite a few people who are very, very suspicious about the vaccine and leery about getting it. Does that surprise you that 3 years in, after seeing so many people lose their life, that people are still questioning the effectiveness of the vaccines?
I'm not surprised. And, this was a new phenomenon that, we experienced as a country, as a world. But we have seen this is now 3 years into this pandemic, and the long-term health problems from vaccines are very rare. The risks from COVID far outweigh any risk from side effects of the vaccine. Symptoms of COVID vary greatly. People who contract COVID can experience severe illness that can lead to hospitalization and death. That's even if they have no health issues. people who recover, even sometimes those who've had mild cases of the virus, can have lingering symptoms that may last months to, if not longer. COVID can damage internal organs and can lead to an increased risk of long-term health problems such as strokes, seizures, or heart disease. In contrast, the side effects from vaccines are minimal and almost always go away in a matter of days. You're more likely to be sick enough to miss work or need hospital care from having COVID as opposed to getting a vaccine. And that's what I'm striving to express to people who have not taken their vaccines at this particular point, that there's increased benefit of being protected, fully protected, as opposed to the risk of getting COVID. And as the weather is getting warmer and people are congregating more, that's what is so important, that we continue to protect ourselves and our communities and prevent the rise of this virus from happening.
I mentioned in my intro, Dr. Gowdy, long COVID, and I personally know individuals who are still dealing with the effects of long COVID. And as we're having this conversation about the vaccine, I think that's another thing for us to be able to talk about. How do the risk of COVID and long COVID compare to the side effects of a vaccine?
Well, there are so many different symptoms from long COVID, and we do not know who will be stricken by long COVID. We've seen it in people who have no health issues and are young and healthy, and are still could have the virus and then be affected by fatigue and unable to think clearly for months on end. The vaccine basically provides a protection from getting COVID and then ultimately from getting the effects of long COVID. And that's sort of the difference. There may be soreness at an injection site from the vaccine, but that pales in comparison to some of the symptoms that I've been seeing in some of the patients who have been, stricken by COVID. And they are young people, people who are, less than 50, who are, still feel like they're not at their full capacity to take care of their family, to do their job effectively. And that's one of those things where the risk of outweighs of the having COVID is much higher as opposed to the risk of getting a vaccine.
Dr. Gowdy, you mentioned,
COVID
of course,
vaccines are safe and
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dr. Gowdy.
Sorry. And the COVID vaccines are safe and effective. They've been the most closely monitored vaccines in U.S. history. And the side effects on the vaccines, the COVID vaccines, are very, very rare,
Dr. Gowdy, I was just going to say, you mentioned the updated vaccine. Again, and one of the critiques that I have heard here at the station where I am in Yazoo City, but also, of course, from our online affiliates, is that, this all happens so fast. And so when you're talking about the updated vaccine, what do we know about the safety of it? I mean, is it something that also, you were just talking about the vaccines being safe and effective, is that something that can be said about the updated vaccine?
Yeah, well, sure. The updated vaccines have been proven to be effective for all of the different forms of COVID, the iterations that has happened over the last several years. And the most recent updated vaccines are now available for anyone whose last dose was before September. Only people who have completed their primary COVID vaccine series can get an updated vaccine. So it's important to make sure that you have completed your vaccine series and the updated booster. Children 6 months and older can also get an updated vaccine. We're asking parents to talk to your child's pediatrician about when to schedule an appointment to get on that series. So yes, the updated vaccines are very effective. That has been one of the benefits that we've had with this type of vaccine. It has been closely monitored. We have been able to tailor it to be as effective as it possibly can to prevent the spread of COVID virus.
Well, Dr. Gowdy, really appreciate you taking this time to share this information and to give this reassurance to our audience. Again, we're 3 years in, and still there's so many questions that people have and concerns, and it's good to have individuals like yourself and health expert to actually be able to address those. Again, everyone, Dr. Otis Gowdy has been our guest from the Internal Medicine Clinic in Meridian, Mississippi, talking with us, of course, about the importance of not only the updated vaccine, but also, of course, the safety and also the effectiveness as well. Dr. Gowdy, where can can our audience go for more information?
Yes, you can go to vaccines.gov for more information to find out where you can get the vaccine.
All right. Dr. Gowdy, really appreciate you and looking forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you so much, Cyrus. Thank you for having me.
Hey, glad to do it. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live, part of our Music and Youth segment here at WYAD. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's go make today amazing. Take care.